were selected. For these selected athletes, they represent the best of the best. Congratulations and good luck, athletes. Remember, cheer for your team, not against your opponent. FBU would like to thank our valued sponsors. KB3 Sports is the official title sponsor of the 2023 FBU National Championship. The KB3 Sports app is an all-inclusive sports platform designed to connect athletes, coaches, and recruiters by providing verified data that can be filtered, sorted, and ranked by position, sport, and region. Get started today by creating your official KB3 Sport profile and have access to the world's only profile page that updates your stats in a real time. Visit kb3sports.com to learn more and get started today.
It's RJ Finozzi.
Gatorade, Football University's national championship participants. When we all play, we all win. Gatorade is committed to giving millions their chance to get in the game. Together, we can fuel tomorrow. For the athletes who give everything, nothing beats Gatorade. Wilson, Football University is proud to use Wilson footballs. For athletes to perform their best, they require the best. For over 100 years, that's what Wilson has delivered. Not only is Wilson used on more high school football fields than any other brand, but it is also the official ball
We welcome you back on our FBU National Championship Game Day stream. Championship Tuesday here at the Paradise Coast Sports Complex in Naples, Florida. It's the 7th grade FBU National Championship. You might have heard some of the battle cry of Team Utah. A lot of their 6th graders who were in this game a year ago and fell to Southwest Florida. They're back, and they're against Maryland. Neil Sika and the FBU Director of Football Development, Anthony Williams, here to have some fun. We just saw a 38-0 rout by Dallas in the 6th grade championship against Bradenton. Maryland, whose program has gone through the ebbs and flows over the last 6 or 7 years. They combined with Maryland Metro over the last 2 years, and they found some new prominence. This was a organization that won the very first 7th grade championship in 2012 down in San Antonio. Their 8th graders won it in 2016. We'll see them later on tonight when they face Ohio for the 8th grade championship. But you've got Tyreek Bird, the son of Terrence, who was a standout cornerback at the University of Maryland and has done a great job with these kids. Skill against the size, the defensive front of Utah is going to be something to watch. They went out, they felt they got better at the skill positions too, Anthony, so this is a very interesting matchup in terms of the contrasting styles.
No, absolutely, Neil, and both teams had to battle in order to get to the championship. They all had close games in the quarter and semifinals. Utah won game 7-6. So these teams have been battle tested. They didn't have an easy road to get here. So I fully expect a very competitive game. And you nailed it. It's going to be more physicality against athleticism, and it'll be interesting to see which team is better prepared and who plays more clean this game than the last game.
Maryland arrived to the field a little bit late. Utah was ready to go, and they brought their fan base too. You mentioned the 7-6 win for Utah in the semifinal against Dallas. They beat SoCal 18-14 in the quarters. A 6-point win for Maryland over Southwest Florida in the semis. They had to go to overtime in the quarters against Massachusetts, 14-6. And marching on, they're in the white. Utah wearing the exact same jerseys that Dallas did in the 6th grade game, those speckled black with teal and pink numerals. And maybe for them, they're hoping it'll be a good omen. After Dallas's destruction, we saw penalties to start the 6th grade game. We've got one here on the kickoff to begin. Troy Costain is our referee, and he is hoping that he's not as busy as Fred Wass was in the 6th grade game.
Once again, kids being very anxious. First play of the championship game here. The emotions are running high. Adrenaline's running high. Eventually they'll kind of calm down and get set in their ways and be ready to execute the game plan.
Back 'em up 5 on the kickoff. Kamari Johnson sends it away. Or it's bobbled for the moment. Where Roman Fitisimanu will return it for Utah out to the 45. They've got good field position to begin.
As Neil mentioned, Utah's team was in the championship last year, 6th graders. Very well coached, very disciplined, and very creative on offense. But they will be physical. You're not going to see a lot of reverse. You're going to see some power football here with some well-timed play-action passes. So let's see if they have the same game plan this year.
They felt they add to their running back depth. Their head coach is Ben Young, who's also the team director. He was an Army brat. Played at Southern Utah, some Division II ball before settling out toward the Wasatch Front. And his son, Rigby, is the quarterback. They open with a pistol set. On 1st and 10 from the 45. Opening play from scrimmage in the 7th grade championship. And that straight ahead dive play for 4 yards will set them up pretty well on 2nd and 6. That carry by Isaiah Fanotti.
Utah offensive line looking really good in size and moving their feet in that first play. Just road graders. So we'll see if they continue that here in this next play.
K.Al Prom, he's the feature back, and he leads the way here for Young, who's going to get near midfield. maybe a yard. It's going to bring up 3rd and 6. Well, it's ball control by design. You look at how big they are up front, and you'll see them defensively too. They feel they've got 4 Division I caliber defensive linemen who can go on both sides of the ball, but they want to go ground and pound with control. They've got 2 different backs to feature too.
Utah coming out with 2x2 set. Maryland with 8 men in the box. See what they're going to do here.
Keogh in the backfield. Young throws. Little bubble screen to the near side. Goes nowhere. What a play defensively. Desmond Reeves wrapping up Fanotti on the outside. It's 4th down.
Definitely got a feel there for the type of speed that Maryland has coming to the edge there. He came from all the way inside to take away that tunnel screen. So definitely speed against size in this game. It's something to look forward to.
So with good field position and a positive gain on 1st down, the last 2 are stymied on the drive for Utah, and they'll punt. With Rigby Young handling those chores, standing back at his 40. And the kick away with a sideward bounce out at the 27, and that's where Maryland's offense goes to work after the 3 and outs. Two minutes and change off the clock on that opening drive, and here comes that Maryland offense, and they are led by their signal caller in Caden Coleman Bennett. They call him Big O, and he's one of the most electric players so far we've seen in the 7th grade level during the week.
Utah coming out in a 4-man front here. They're going to run a 4-2-5 against this 12 personnel.
He's lined up in the slot. Demetrius Mathis takes the snap. The quarterback hands straight ahead to Paul Alston. He's got about 5. Good carry on 1st down. So many different skill threats between Mathis, who's a dual threat quarterback. You've got Coleman Bennett, Amir Wright,
5-yard gain on the play.
who have all had big tournaments on the way to this final. There's the quarterback, Mathis. Spread and power, always been great balance under Bird coach teams, whether it's the elder Terrence or his son Tyreek. Another run up the middle for Alston.
Carry up the middle is going to be
And we got 3rd and 2 with that stop in the hole by Fafita.
Pretty impressive surge by the Maryland offensive line right now. They're a little undersized, not undersized, but they're smaller than Utah's D-line, but they're good and get off and moving the line of scrimmage.
Maryland's opening possession of this 7th grade championship. Mathis going to the air, but he's going to the ground instead. Wrapped down on the sack. It looked like Fanotti finished him off, but a wave of defenders in on the play. Tau Tuiaki was also mixing it up, and he was the one that barrel rolled Mathis for the big loss.
Big time pressure by Utah, but even better coverage by their secondary. Nobody open, quarterbacks go hard on the ball, and that led to the sack.
Sio Tau Tuiaki, part of a linebacking core that returns R.J. Fanotti. Big reason to why they were playing in the 6th grade title game. They play for it on 4th and 20, and it falls incomplete. Well, you have to wonder about the decision there. You just gave Utah the football at the 17-yard line. I don't get it.
Me neither. I don't know if their punters hurt or they saw something they thought they could take advantage of, but you just gave Utah a very short field with that massive offensive line here.
So the Utah defense, and Ben Young said it, if we're going to win the game, they're going to be the fulcrum, that defensive line, to get us great field position and Mission accomplished on the first drive. Now can they cash in? 5.5 remaining in the opening quarter. Rigby Young heading to the air and to the end zone for Matthijs. Well, they were still scrapping for it, and they waved that off, maybe to the tune of a little premature. The defensive back comes up with it, and Kamari Jefferson, but they wanted Landon Matthijs, who's their top receiving target. I think they were still playing for that ball.
You know, I didn't see that ball hit the ground. He may have blew that whistle a little early because they were still scrambling for it. Let's take a look here.
And remember, in the game, tied possession goes to the receiver. This is an excellent look from our crew. Again, that's trapped in between his knee and the body.
That ball never hit the ground.
Wow. I mean, that is something for Matthijs. With debatable possession. That's a wonderful job by our prep spin crew. But like in the last game, when what we thought was a lateral was an actual forward pass, you can't review. There's no video replay here in the national championship. And it very well could have been simultaneous possession, which goes to the offense, which would have been a touchdown. But instead, it's 3rd and 9 after that minimal game on the carry up the middle.
Very interesting, Neil. Utah's in you don't hear this very often. They're in a 22 personnel with 2 running backs, 2 tight ends, 1 receiver. But once again, Maryland's front 6 hold the line of scrimmage here.
1 yard gain brings up 3rd down and 9.
Yeah, Kamari Johnson and Harris and Polfo, they're very stout players leading that Maryland D here at the 7th grade level. Rigby Young under duress, got out of the pocket, wants Matthijs, who's got it. But there is a flag in the backfield. It's going to be a hold. It's not going to stand, and the Utah fans don't recognize it yet. Matthijs, he is a weapon out there, the wide receiver, but all for naught.
Ty shows a great ability to go up 50-50 ball, gets 2 defenders, and he comes down with it. That's very impressive for a young man only in 7th grade.
Well, and you can very well make the case he's come down with both that have been thrown his way.
After the penalty, it's going to bring up 3rd down and long. Ball placed right around the 30-yard line of Maryland.
So 3rd down. They need to get to the 12. It's 3rd and 19. We have trips on the far side of your screen. Utah's 2nd possession. After a turnover on downs, and they set up the screen. Oh, well executed, and Prom paid the price. Coming through the middle, Elijah Simmons and Jordan Hammond laid the lumber on Prom.
Big window closed pretty quickly there. I thought they had something going there, Neil, and well, he closed that window pretty quickly to prevent them from getting the 1st down.
So now it does make it 4th and manageable with the ball on the 20-yard line. They need to get to the 11. And they'll run a similar looking formation. Rigby Young with the pocket breaking down is going to try and run for it. Rigby Young going forward, and I think he got it.
He did.
He pinballed around in the middle, took a hit from Desmond Reeves, who's the man down for Maryland, but they extend the drive. And from all the way back at their 31 on 3rd and 19, they got it in 2 plays. Young on the ground with his feet.
Yeah, Young, great job there. Came out 3-by-1 personnel in formation. Saw that they were in man, and once he saw that hole open up, everybody's turned their back to the play. He said, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and tuck the ball and get the 1st down. He had a big lane, took a big hit, but was able to move the chains. It's a great play by that quarterback in that coverage recognition.
It's a loud and proud Utah fan base that made the long journey here, and they are making their presence felt, and it's inspired their team. 1st down they pick up. It's good to see Reeves on his feet.
Hopefully he just got the wind knocked out of him. He'll be back here probably next play.
3:09 remaining here in the 1st. A physical affair. We knew that going in, but Maryland with some big hits. You knew they'd be up for the challenge.
Ball at the 10-yard line.
First and goal for Utah. See what they got here.
A backfield of Bubby Keogh and Kal Prom. And they give to Prom. He shuffles his feet to avoid the first surge, which was coming from Kamari Johnson.
Neil, Utah coming out with some old school wishbone, double tight end, 3 backs in the backfield. I haven't seen that in a long time at the youth level. They really are trying to power the ball. But, hey, kudos to the Maryland team. Their front six doing a good job of winning at the line of scrimmage.
They're going to do it again. Wishbone pistol, if you will. And Young with extra protection. Rolling to the outside, just scrapping with whatever he can get. Closed off at the boundary. He got a couple of yards. Third down upcoming. 3rd and goal from the 7.
Going to bring up 3rd down and goal.
You know, it's so hard to get down the red zone, Neil, and so hard to score because you don't have a lot of field to work with. It actually is a little easier for the defense because they don't have the whole field to cover, only about 15 yards, 18 yards of it. So great job by the Maryland defense of stepping up in a change of possession. And so let's see what they got here on this big 3rd down play.
They're looking to go power again. Matisse not even on the field. And out of that wishbone, they're looking to throw back, but there was no one there. Young's looking downfield. He doesn't have a receiver, and he took the pop. Well, there might have been some confusion in the personnel. Because all the while Young was looking back to the near side, there was no one home, and there is a flag that came in late.
So we got a lineman downfield. Oh,
yes.
No.
Oh, wow. The hit looked clean along the near sideline.
I could have swore I saw a tackle running downfield like, hey, throw me the ball. He's definitely past the line of scrimmage. But, Neil, great point. I think he did roll the wrong way because there was no receivers on this side of the ball when he rolled out this way.
So that penalty.
Ball being placed right at the 4-yard line. Will replay 3rd down.
I didn't get what that call was. I may have missed it.
It'll keep it 3rd down, they say. Young going to try and find a crease in the middle.
Number 11,
Half-yard line.
carry up the middle.
He did not, so it's 4th and goal from the 1.
Young showing some toughness. He's taking some shots early here, but he is showing a lot of heart here. He's doing what he can to have his team get in the end zone.
Son of a coach. The coach, Ben Young. And Rigby taking the snaps. He's already picked up 1 4th down, 1st down, and now he's trying to take him to the house. Wishbone again.
Brotherly shove.
Little Utah love going forward. I don't think he got there. He did not. And the Maryland defense holds on the front line. And a turnover on downs. 1 aside per team. Young couldn't score. And Maryland takes over.
Great surge by the Maryland defense.
And Kamari Fanotti trying to give a shove to Young in the back.
Nowhere to go, though.
Dominic Johnson looked like he got in there.
Yeah, it looked like also Evelyn Maps was in there making a play, too.
And Kamari Johnson's always around the football. Helped make the stop. So now 99 yards for Maryland, but they prevented the score. Looking for the game's first points here in the 7th grade championship. 18 seconds remaining in the first. Demetrius Mathis up against it on the handoff inside and just getting back toward that line, that defensive line of Utah collapsing quickly toward Caden Coleman.
It's really important here for a team to understand. You get that big stop on the goal line, then you find out, oh, we've got the ball, so we've got to get going forward here. Hey, really good first quarter, Neil. Much better than the previous game.
No doubt about it. We're going to march to the other end, 99 yards, where it'll be second down for Maryland to start the second quarter when we return scoreless here from Naples, the 7th grade FBU National Championship. Neil Sika, Anthony Williams with you. FBU's director of football, and on second down and 9, the move to the outside is the man that the Utah defense might fear the most. It's Caden Coleman Bennett with a burst of speed and out over the 20-yard line or near it. I'll spot him out, but he did pick up the first down, and Maryland with some breathing room.
Great vision by Caden there. Was supposed to go off tackle. Wasn't much there. Saw opening outside, use his speed, turn the corner. Now they got some room to play with here.
Second play of the second quarter. And a run into the middle for Coleman Bennett. It was wrapped up. Got to the secondary, and Caleb Fautoa helps make the stop for Utah.
You know, Neil, one of the things we heard from the coaches for the game is Utah's front line. I can tell you right now, after the first quarter, and Maryland has matched them step for step. Their O-line and D-line has stepped up to the challenge here against the Utah team.
Scott Niambi, Eric Winter helped lead that offensive line for Maryland, but this time advantage Utah's defensive front. Just swallowed up, nowhere to go in the hole. And you see big 44 with a host of players getting in to make the stop.
Big play right here. Even though they're out on the 18-yard line, they get a stop here and get a punt. They're going to get the ball in good field position here. So, great opportunity for the Utah defense.
It's 3rd and 7. Not a lot of success in the passing game for Maryland yet. Mathis will look. He's got time after he got out of the pocket, tossed it up for grabs. It's dropped. Fanotti in coverage. Had it spill off his hands, almost as good as a punt. And here's where Maryland, again, they were deep in their own territory when they decided to play, but there was also a flag, I believe, mixed in at the end of that play. Nope, my apologies. It is 4th down. They didn't punt the last time around and survived the short field with a goal line stand on 4th down with Utah's Young trying to punch it in.
Very happy to see Maryland actually trying to punt the ball here deep in their own side of the field here. So
that punt, not a good one. But takes a little bit of a Maryland bounce. And so Utah plus territory again. This time they'll start at the Maryland 40.
Utah, where Maryland will take over first and 10.
early in this game right now, just starting the second quarter, but Utah has got to start taking advantage of this good field position. Kudos to the Maryland defense of keeping Utah out of the end zone here with a short field. Let's see if they can come up again and get a stop for their offense.
Still early stages in this second quarter. And Utah with their third possession. They got close the last time around. Rigby Young brings Fitasimanu in motion, and he'll take it off the snap. Jet sweep and was looking to throw downfield for Matisse, but it was well covered, and he had to step out of bounds.
Yeah, we just call that 38 pitch pass. You want to make it look like it's going to be a pitch to the outside, have the running back sell it, and then throw the ball. But he looked like he was going to throw it immediately, and Maryland did a great job. The cornerback here, number 4, Kamari Jefferson, did a great job of recognizing I'm staying with that receiver deep.
That was a loss of 7. 2nd and 17 for Utah. And a split backfield shotgun. Up for Matisse it goes. And it falls just through his fingertips. Well, there was good coverage, too, down the field from Elijah Simmons. That's a fun battle right now. And Anthony Matisse is almost getting near or next to everything thrown his way.
Yeah, it's a really good coverage. You're staying on his hip. Got his arm out, tried to get an impact of the play. Great job by the Maryland defense here. They showed blitz and then dropped out into zone. So I think it maybe fooled Dodge a little bit. Riley, the quarterback, on the coverage. But still a good throw. Third down here.
K.O. Prom in the backfield with Young. Maryland's going to spend a timeout on 3rd and 17.
Yeah, it looks like they only had 10 on the field here. Coach had to call a timeout.
So right now it's a battle of the defenses. Maryland, they had the answer on the goal line stand, but Utah's has managed to control Maryland's offense and anchor field position. The question is, can Utah do anything with it? 3rd and 17, scoreless here early in the second quarter of the 7th grade FBU National Championship. Was reminiscing a little earlier in the 6th grade game and mentioning how Maryland's 7th graders were here, and they went on a memorable run. They won the first ever edition of the 7th grade FBU National Championship. They had a magnificent dual threat quarterback in DeJuan Ellis. And the cold and rainy semifinal against Massachusetts led them to the title against Northwest Louisiana. Blitz coming on Young, evades it. Down the field for Matisse. Oh, it's through his hands. The distracted arm maybe of Amir Wright in coverage. And Matisse not happy with himself because it slipped through the fingers, and he had 1st and goal right on the doorstep set up if he would have caught it.
I'm pretty sure that's a ball he catches most of the time. It happens. He'll come back strong on the next attempt.
And maybe just distracted enough again by Wright. Young punts. Second time he kicks. Wright bobbled it, then recovered it. And he's going nowhere.
It's absolutely great coverage by the Utah punt team there.
Sifonua down there to make the stop on the tackle.
For all your youth coaches out there watching this game and the last game, I know you spend a lot of time in your offensive game plan, your defensive game plan. Special teams is a big part of the game, especially when you get to this level, even at the youth level. take your time building your practice plans to find a punter, find a kicker, because you're going to need them to flip the field and give your offense defense a chance. Great job by the Utah special teams.
A defensive stalemate so far here at the 7th grade level.
Maryland, first and 10.
Maryland's been hemmed into their own end. Third possession now that started in a row inside their 10-yard line. Last one, they were just outside the shadow of their own goalposts. Jordan Hammond's in the backfield with Demetrius Mathis and the quarterback. Hands to Hammond. Bouncing off a couple of tackles to the second level for Hammond. He's out near the 20.
Number 6, Jordan Hammond on the carry.
He got 13 yards on that carry and a first down.
Great job again by Jordan Hammond. Really impressed with his vision. Nothing at the point of attack. Was supposed to be off tackle left on a zone read. Caesar's nothing there. Peels it back to the other side and gets 13 yards. Picks up the first down for his team. A much needed first down for Maryland.
We've already seen him on defense make a couple of big hits from the secondary. In motion goes Kamari Johnson. They toss to Hammond. And after the initial grab, he leans forward for about 3 or 4 yards, so did get something out of it. Fautua, who was in on the last play and missed the tackle this time, holds on a little bit longer. The guy wearing number 4.
Great job by him controlling the edge there. That play had a chance to go somewhere if he didn't make that play. So great job by him by keeping the running back contained.
Fautua, Katoa, Fafita, Patai Ali, that talented defensive front for Utah. Inside 6 minutes remaining in the half. It's 2nd and 8. Third time in a row, the carry goes to Hammond. Got 2. Bring up 3rd and a long 5.
Shout out to my partner here, Neil, with the Samoan names here, and you're doing a really good job for a guy that grew up in California around a lot of Samoans. You're knocking it out the park there. Good job.
I've had a lot of practice through the years. And that's a credit to Team Utah for getting this far, or Southern Cal or Vegas. We've all seen them throughout the FBU National Championship. And it's the beauty of the dichotomy in the regions, too. Of even Team Seattle has come through and had that presence through the years and a lot of success. Time out here on the field. With 5:09 remaining.
I continue to give kudos to that Maryland defense. I mean, they've played the entire game, Maryland, on their side of the field, and it's still 0-0. And most teams that wouldn't happen. So kudos to their defense and the defense coordinator for rallying those kids around keeping Utah out of the end zone and keeping them in this game.
Well, we did have a scoreless game up until overtime. If you watched any of the 10U streams, the Platinum Division, where Maryland's 10Us won that on a conversion try, 7-6. And might have taken us into the still of the night if they didn't score that, but we're scoreless here. Dallas Metro won the Middle Division 10U. And in the new division of 10U teams, Pennsylvania victorious over Tennessee. So congrats to that group. Dallas in the 6th grade, 38-0. And here the 7th graders are scoreless halfway through the second quarter. Pistol look, new quarterback, Houston Anderson, looking down the middle. It's incomplete. He wanted Kamari Johnson.
Big stop on 3rd down again for Utah. If they punt here, they're going to get the ball back in probably a pretty good situation, pretty good game, field position.
So Houston Anderson came in for one play. Now will come out. It's 4th down and about 6. They've punted once from this scenario. They've also went for it. The thing is, if you're not kicking it all that well, you'd say, what's the difference? But a lot can go wrong, too, if you're tackled in the backfield. This punt from Amir Wright is going to push it towards midfield. It's going to take a little bit of a bounce. But Utah is going to have another drive, their third consecutive that begins in Maryland territory, but they haven't been able to march with much success. Their best drive stalled at the 1 on a Maryland goal line stand.
This could be their last possession of the half. They really need to push this ball in the end zone here to get a lead going into halftime.
Maryland won that toss and deferred. They're going to get the football to start the second half. They're adorned in the white from top to bottom. Utah in the black with the speckled colors. And on that dive up the middle, what a tackle by Kamari Johnson. He is all over the football, number 3 right there in the middle of your screen. Also some help from Jeremy and Pofo.
Maryland defense just stout right now. They've been out there for most of the first half, and they continue to just press and win at the line of scrimmage. Kudos to them again.
Rigby Young with the pistol look and a 3 wide receiver set on 2nd and 10. Pressure off the edge. Got the slant pass away. It's complete for a gain of about 9.
A little bit of a tunnel screen there to the receiver. Came up underneath the number 2. Made a good catch in traffic and picked up some much needed yards. Now they got a 3rd and short here, which is much more manageable than 3rd and 6.
That initial number on the reception, was it Tau Tuiaki or was it Prom? No, Prom in the backfield, so Utah staff is out to take a look at the injured player. And we'll pause for the moment. 4 minutes remaining in a scoreless first half in the 7th grade FBU National Championship. Isaiah Finoti was the man who had the reception for 9, but he's up off the deck with some assistance. That's good to see. It's 3rd and 2 for Utah after the injury timeout. Rigby Young going to keep it and might have got enough of a surge from the line to get near the sticks.
Very close. Looks like he got it. Yep.
First down for Utah.
You know, I'm wondering that I know these kids are young, 7th grade, but I'm wondering how much energy it's taken out of this Maryland defense for the second half. They're doing a great job of winning now, but we might see the repercussions of that here in the second half. Keep an eye on that going forward.
That is a great point, wearing them down with their physicality up front. Fa'amo, Fakalahi, 2 of their top linemen. Young threw that. It's a dangerous pass, and it falls incomplete. Well, the surge was coming from Kamari Jefferson. And Matthijs left out on an island there, and maybe for the best that he didn't come up with it.
That is what we call a busted play. Receiver kind of came in motion, and it looked at the quarterback like, hey, this play's not for me. That could have been a disaster, so thank God it was an incomplete pass. Maryland continue to bring pressure with Kamari Johnson. They are just right now just doing everything in their will to keep their team in the game.
.305 left here in the second quarter. Alika Ono, the center. On top of the ball, will shotgun snap it to Rigby Young. With the pocket breaking down, up for Matthijs. And they're going to throw a flag. He was caught up with Kamari Jefferson, who had made contact. That ball might not have been catchable, but he did have his hands on him.
That might be offensive pass interference. Receiver gives him a kind of a push. I don't know how they're going to call this one. It's probably going to be on defense. Love that Utah took a shot there. Oh, they called it on the defense. Okay.
Troy Costain, our referee. And that's a big penalty. A pass interference, 15 yards in Utah, which was under the gun. Now steps inside the red zone. Inside 3 minutes remaining in the half. Young, flags everywhere. This is likely coming back. Little student body to the right and the near boundary. And we're coming right back the other way.
Got a little bit of a chess match going on right now with Maryland defense and Utah offense. Maryland has been overloading the left-hand side or the right-hand side of the offense. They must be seeing something where Utah is showing to be very much a right-handed team, and they overloaded that side. The actual hold took place on the backside, so keep an eye on that going forward.
Now, it is amazing. It should be known that some of these guys have played together from year to year, but from this all-star format and these teams, they don't get together until the tail ends of their season. So continuity, rhythm, and flow when it comes to play and pace, and then the film study, and you got to put that all into practice in such a short amount of time.
Very true.
It's neat to see it all come together when the execution works well. Matisse, flat pass, not much there. Got bumped out of bounds by Jordan Hammond.
Pass completed to number 18, Landon Matisse.
Utah came out overload with the left-hand side this time. Maryland adjusted by just staying in a straight, even front, which left one-on-one on the backside. Picked up a few yards, but it's positive yardage right now. So they're still trying to move the ball here and get in the end zone here in the last 2 minutes of the half.
And about half of the penalty back. 2nd and 13. Back to throw. Now maneuvering Woodward to the end zone. It's incomplete. Well, Garrett Woodward taking the snap there, and the quarterback missing the mark.
It's like number 4, Kamari Jefferson at the corner. Just got enough of that ball, or that would have been a touchdown. So great job by that DB in breaking up that pass.
Fanua was the intended receiver. Down in the end zone, brings up 3rd and 13. They let Woodward rip that, and now Rigby Young back in. Got K.O. Prom in the backfield with him. Landon Matisse, the deep threat, is at the top of your screen.
Utah coming out in 3-by-1 here. They didn't try to isolate and go left here, and they are with the post route.
They want Matisse, and it's going to fall incomplete.
Pass deep downfield. Ball incomplete.
He ran the post, and then that pass intended kind of in a fade direction.
That's going to bring up 4th down and
Elijah
long.
Simmons did well in coverage.
Yes, he did. Elijah did a great job. Knowing he was isolated on an island, was still in position, still kept in phase coverage, and was able to make a play.
So 4th and 13. With the ball at the 23. Basically, this is the story of the first half. You feel the ball has just kind of been sitting right in this general area with give or take 5 or 10 yards, and neither team can find the breakthrough. Maryland's been playing offense in their half, and Utah's been camped out here, but they haven't been able to ask the final questions against this Maryland defense.
You know, watch for a double move here on the up top away from the trips formation here.
And again, that's Landon Matisse up there, and Rigby Young didn't like what he saw, and so he calls timeout. With 90 seconds remaining here in the first half, big snap on 4th and 13 upcoming. Utah and Maryland are scoreless.
Very important timeout call there. This is it. We've got about a minute and a half left. It's fourth down. You want to make sure you got the right call because you may not be back down here. And I'll continue to say it. Kudos to the Maryland defense by still keeping Utah out of the end zone when they played the entire first half on their side of the field.
So out of that timeout, 4th and 13. And we're looking at a field goal attempt here. Wow.
40-yarder, Neil.
Prom is the holder. Andrew Workman is the kicker. From 40 yards. And Workman's kick is on the way. Got it!
Wow.
Andrew Workman with the hard labor, the 40-yard field goal with 1:22 remaining in the half, and Utah is on the board.
Neil, it's a great field goal. Great job by the kicker. And I know it's only 3 points, fans that are watching, but with these two defenses, that kind of felt like a touchdown right there.
It did.
Wow, 40 yards in 7th grade. That is impressive. And for those who aren't here, it's not wind aided. There's not a lot of wind going on. He annihilated that ball. That's a great job by Utah special teams.
Well, you referenced that earlier, the special teams so crucial. In a game like this where the margins are so thin, it should be celebrated as a big breakthrough. Another look, had it all the way. 40 yards for Workman. And he'll kick off now. Probably with the adrenaline to knock this thing to the moon. Away it goes, Amir Wright. Fields at his 16. Right to the outside. And he's bottled up. That's good kickoff coverage by Utah downfield. So 1:14 remains, and Maryland will try to attempt their 2-minute offense and get them into rhythm, but Utah, they have been fundamentally sound, their gap integrity. And we also haven't seen a ton out of the passing game, too, for this Maryland team.
Yeah, I was just thinking as you were saying that they haven't tried to throw the ball vertical yet. We saw Utah do it and get a flag. Maybe they might want to think about doing that right now.
Various inclinations of the Utah program have been on the big stage. Mentioned their 6th graders last year. 2014, their 8th graders got to the championship. The first year in Naples, they lost to South Florida. That South Florida team had some guy by the name of James Cook,
who had a big weekend against.
Yeah, about 200 scrimmage yards against the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
So they've traveled well throughout the years, coming all the way to Southwest Florida. They've sniffed close, but haven't had the final piece of success with 37 seconds remaining. The linesman stopping the clock here. Didn't see anyone signal timeout. We've got an equipment issue, maybe? R.J. Fanotti is going to come off the field.
2nd and 5 here, 37 seconds left. Utah's going to cover 2 here. Fully expect Maryland to try and throw one deep here.
They bring Houston Anderson on to the flat. It's caught, but a great tackle in the open field, or else Kamari Johnson might have had a big gain. Sio Tautuiaki is the one with the shoestring tackle. And that's going to do it. The half expires. The fulcrum has been swinging back and forth. The game essentially played in Maryland territory, but it's a 40-yard field goal with a minute and a half remaining in the second by Andrew Workman. That's the difference here in the 7th grade FBU National Championship. Utah leading Maryland here at halftime. And we'll step out. You're watching the 7th grade FBU title tilt on the FBU National Championship YouTube page.
FBU would like to thank our valued sponsors, KB3 Sports. KB3 Sports is the official title sponsor of the 2023 FBU National Championship. The KB3 Sports app is the
Warming up those feet, I guess.
designed to connect athletes, coaches, and recruiters by providing verified data that can be filtered, sorted, or ranked by position, sport, and region. Get started today by creating your official KB3 Sport profile and have access to the world's only profile page that
Guys, we're
updates
officially
your
at the halfway
stats
point of
in
our
real
day.
time. Visit kb3sports.com to learn more and get started today. Gatorade Football University National Championship participants. When we all play, we all win. Gatorade is committed to giving millions their chance to get in the game. Together, we can fuel tomorrow. For the athletes who give everything, nothing beats absolutely no sportsmanlike conduct from players, coaches, or fans.
Welcome back to the stadium at the Paradise Coast Sports Complex. About 20 minutes away from the Gulf of Mexico, beautiful Naples, Florida, Southwest Florida.
Thank you very much for your
Always fantastic hosts in Collier County for this, the 12th edition of the 7th grade FBU National Championship. Utah 3, Maryland nothing. Neil Sika and Anthony Williams, Director of Football Development at Football University. Utah's going to kick off. They lead 3-0. Andrew Workman's right boot is the difference in the game from 40 yards. And a couple of hops and taken by Maryland. And breaking to the outside with a great return, it's Caden Coleman. He's really been bottled up since the second drive, but Coleman Bennett brings it all the way down inside the Utah 30, but there is a flag. So Maryland was excited maybe about the field position, but it could be premature.
I think it's coming back. I think maybe there was a block in the back there.
And it will come back. So Maryland thinking maybe they had the short field for the first time today, but this offense has been mostly quelled by the Utah defense. So if you're Tyreek Bird, Anthony, at the half, what are you addressing, or maybe to get the attack going in the right direction here and get some points on the board?
Yeah, I think they're going to have to find a way to start attacking the edge. They were doing a good job up the middle, but they've got to get their athletes the ball out in space to have a chance here in the second half. And going back to what you said earlier, Neil, you mentioned that they had 3 series starting at the 15-yard line and make it number 4. They're going to start the half right back at the 15-yard line.
It's interesting, too. Demetrius Mathis is not starting at quarterback here in the second half. They're riding Hulston Anderson, who's more of a passer. He's got 2 in the backfield to protect him. 3 receivers out of the shotgun. Anderson quickly swings it to the flat. Amir Wright dancing in space. That's what they're going to try and do, maybe get their athletes going. But the vertical passing game has been non-existent, and Utah's ready for that swing pass.
Well, Utah, we know how big and physical they are, but they can run. So that dancing, once they do get the ball in space, there's not a lot of time for dancing. Stick your foot in the dirt, try and get north and south to get some positive yards, because here comes that defense.
Underway in the third quarter. Glad you're along. Dallas already taking home the title at the 6th grade level. 38-0 over Bradenton. Utah, familiar team in championship week, but looking for their first title at any grade level. Gashing run off the A-gap through the middle. Goes from Paul Alston.
I think, Neil, one of the goals of the Maryland offense needs to be, let's at least get the ball to somewhere near midfield. Even if we have to punt, let's flip the field and make them have to run their offense from deep in their side and not play the second half on our side of the field.
Kaisen Patai Ali started the slew of 3 tacklers on that last play. 3rd and 3. And the handoff up the middle. Going to be a first down. They had leveraged the boundary side, or the field side, and then ran to the boundary. Hammond has the first down for Maryland.
Nice patient run by Hammond there. There was nothing really there. Let a couple blocks set up. Got in a couple of good yards for the first down here, but he's showing good patience. He's close to breaking one here. Wouldn't be surprised if somebody takes the wrong angle that he's going to take one to the house here in this series.
Hulston Anderson. Off the delay, gives up the middle. 8 more yards. And Caden Coleman Bennett. If Maryland's going to win this thing, this guy more than likely is going to have a major impact in the final decision. They need to find a way to keep getting him the ball consistently.
Yeah, right now, Maryland's offensive line is like, you know what, it's time for us to kind of have an impact in this game. Utah is in an even front, and they're finding some holes in there right now.
That's 9 yards for Coleman Bennett. They motion right.
Oh, boy.
They give it to Hammond. And around the edge. Got a big run into Utah territory. And all of a sudden, Maryland is finding some rhythm on the ground. They're to the Utah 45.
I like how Maryland, his offense coordinator, is mixing it up now. They've run left, they've run right. They've thrown the ball a little bit, so I think they went in halftime. I could definitely see some adjustments that they're taking on offense, mix things up and not just being predictable.
Trips come near side. Houston Anderson, the quarterback. Hands. Coleman Bennett gashing through into open spaces. Coleman Bennett has a Maryland touchdown. Party of 6 for the Maryland superstar. It's a 45-yard run. And the Old Line State leads 6-3.
I love it when I'm right, Neil. You just definitely see the momentum happening in this first series. Great job by the OC from Maryland, just mixing things up. And he's been one tackle away from breaking one, and he took one there. So great job by them on making that first adjustment here for the first series.
Caden Coleman Bennett silencing the Utah fans. And on the opening drive of the third quarter, Maryland means business, leading it 6-3.
Early in the second half here, but this PAT is important. We know that Utah's got a big kicker that can get them 3, so it would be really good for Maryland to pick up this PAT.
Little wildcat look. Alston not going to get it.
That's huge, Neil. That's huge for Utah.
6-3 it remains, a 3-point game. 3 minutes and 10 seconds taken off that drive. 45-yard touchdown run by Caden Coleman Bennett.
It's good to see at the youth football level that good coaches can make adjustments. That was not the same offense we saw in the first half. Definitely mixed it up with some outside stuff, trying to get their athletes the ball in space. Counter left, counter right, and then he breaks one big there. So great job by the Maryland offensive staff there.
Now Tyreek Bird, who's the coach of this Maryland team, was commenting on how he has to give a lot of credit to his dad because he was on his staff for 5 years, but he can remember as a boy, he was 12 years old. He was watching DeJuan Ellis and the stream from San Antonio leading the 7th grade team to the national championship, and a decade later, now he's in charge of the 7th graders, and they're trying to take home their 2nd at this grade level and 3rd overall.
You know, the old saying, an apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
No, it does not. That was neat to reminisce with him earlier today. The kickoff from Johnson. Fit to Simanu. Out over the 35 at the 37 is where it comes to a halt, and that's where Utah begins drive number 1 of their second half. Well, they had the big momentum swing with the Workman field goal, but Maryland went to work on their first drive of this third quarter. On the touchdown run by Coleman Bennett, does Utah have a response?
Here's an adjustment I think Maryland should be looking at. They couldn't score when they had the ball on their side of the field. Maryland's goal defensively, so we need to keep them over here. We can get the ball back and use our offense to maybe get another score in here. So look for Maryland's defense to be very aggressive in this first series for Utah.
It's Woodward who's the quarterback to start, and a flag comes in after the trap play to Prom is going on Utah.
Nice job, Neil, by that pulling guard from Utah. picked up the edge, kicked him outside, but I think we had one of his teammates with a block in the back or a hold.
The Prom was tripped up rather quickly. Maryland declining the penalty. Carter Gallegos brings in the play.
For those of you not familiar with football, you hear blitz, you think it's pass. There are run blitzes, and if I was Maryland right now, I'd be running a run blitz to keep them backed up here on the second down.
This passing game downfield has been close, but no cigar. To the outside, Fanotti.
Tried to run a little bubble screen there with the pressure come to the middle. Great job by the cornerback enforcing that, fighting through the block, and it's a 3-yard loss. Now it's third and a long 13 here.
Yeah, he went nowhere. Not on that edge. Jordan Hammond has made plays all game long defensively, and it's third and long. Rigby Young returns the quarterback now. Bubby Keogh in the backfield with him. 3 receivers at the top of your screen. They isolate Matisse at the bottom. The pocket breaks down. Young taken off. Rigby Young got to the outside to midfield and a first down for Utah. Plays have broken down on numerous occasions throughout this game, and Rigby Young has used his feet to keep drives extended.
Neil, you were here last year. I literally remember him making the same plays in the 6th grade game last year. If they needed 12 yards, he'd find some way to get 13. He's not the fastest player. He's not the biggest player. The kid just finds a way to make plays and move the chains. Kudos to him on that play.
Into plus territory at the Maryland 48, coming up on the midpoint of this third quarter. Also remember that second drive of the game, Utah was moving the football. They thought they might have had a touchdown. We saw our replay looks. Matisse may have made the catch of the tournament. It was ruled incomplete. But they led 3-0 at the half. There's not much in the middle there on the inside handoff.
So impressed with Maryland's defense in their front 6, front 7 here. They're just not a lot of gaps there, and they close the ball quickly. The Maryland defense doing a really good job.
And Pofo tackled Keogh.
8-2 on the play.
2nd and 8.
Thinking pass here, Neil.
Got 2 each way. Rigby Young runs again. Near the 40. Before he's corralled by Mpofo. So bring up 3rd and short.
Utah coach looking like he's going to try and use Riley here in some of the run game for the quarterback. That was a called QB draw on that play. They were in 2 wide, 2x2. He saw a gap, took off, got some yards, and got a very manageable 3rd down, 3rd and 3 here.
Third down and 2 upcoming for Utah's offense.
Clock coming up on 4 minutes. A big 3rd down conversion last time on the drive here for Utah. Can they keep it going? Pistol look. Rigby Young running all the way. Huge crease on the outside. He ran around right end inside the 20. No hesitation at all. He had seen the receivers clear space, and he was on the move.
Yeah, very smart by Rigby there. Defensive end, who's supposed to hold the edge, came inside, took an inside look. As soon as he saw that, he took off from the outside, picked up a big gain there. Yeah, looked like Kamari Johnson decided to take an inside move there, and they took advantage of it.
Young brings him to the line. Keogh in the backfield. An offset pistol look. Bubby Keogh into the teeth of the defense. Found his way through for a Utah touchdown. Bubby-licious. puts Utah back in front, 9-6.
Great job by Bubby. Just kept his feet driving. Gets in the hole. Guys kind of stop. He keeps his leg going, finds a hole, and takes it to the house. Great run by that young man.
And what a response. Now the team from the Wasatch front, and watch Maryland come up with their first big offensive drive of the game and show their resiliency to recapture the advantage, 9-6. And here's Workman trying to add the point after. It's good. 10-6. Utah back to the lead with 3:52 remaining in the third.
You know, Neil, you and I watch a lot of football. We talk about how a team responds. Maryland finally gets on the scoreboard. Utah didn't hang their head, came out and had their best drive of the game so far to take the lead back. So great job, great adjustment by the Utah staff.
Well, would you expect anything less? We told you at the beginning, both of these teams played close games in the quarters and the semis and were set up for a fantastic theater to wrap this 7th grade game. It really has been well played.
Absolutely.
10-6.
And now the script flips back down to Maryland. How are they going to respond now? You're on a high, you just scored, and boom, I just gave up a touchdown. How are they going to respond? The game of football is about how you respond to adversity. That's what decides what level you go to.
The 6th grade program for Utah, they made 3 consecutive appearances down here. And the team last year, the first to get to 2 consecutive championships in linear fashion. This squib hybrid looking onside kick is fielded right in the middle by Elon Jones of Maryland.
It's an interesting call there, Neil. You got to kick it with a big leg. You've been holding them on their side of the field. I don't know if we saw something there, but you've kind of given Maryland what they've been lacking in good field position now, and they just have the number 8, their number 1 guy, take it to the end zones here. Kind of a questionable call there, but I'm sure they've got a plan here.
Caden Coleman Bennett, 45-yard touchdown run on the last drive. They'll put him in the backfield. They'll line him up in the slot, and that's where he starts this possession on the far side of the screen. The quarterback has been Houston Anderson for both series now here in the third quarter. They swing it to that flat space, and Coleman Bennett, really something out of nothing. A quick shifty move to get about 4 yards in the end.
Well, Neil, if you remember the first series when they scored that last series, their first play was getting the ball outside, getting their guy out in space. And then they started mixing up left tackle, right tackle, inside, outside. And so let's see. I think he's found a script. We might see the same exact script in this series.
And if you can maneuver that to success, who needs the vertical passing game, right?
Absolutely.
Coming up on 3 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Each team scoring on their most recent possessions. And Houston Anderson and Maryland trying to answer the Utah touchdown. Hammond about 5 yards. Going to set up a 3rd and short. Got into the interior of that Utah defense.
Yeah, Maryland trying to use a trips formation, trips wide, to like eye candy, like, hey, we might be doing something over here. Then they run counter back to the left side, which is what they did the last series, and they still picked up really good yardage here.
Fafita made the tackle. Anderson checks the sideline for the play. On 3rd and 3, they give to Alston.
Got it.
He's got the first down. Good surge by the line to get near midfield. Maryland moving the sticks. Or so we thought. I'm going to call a legal formation. There was a lot of deliberation to get that play off.
Yeah, the three trips receivers on the bottom here. There wasn't one line of scrimmage. They were all off the ball. As we saw in the Kansas City game last week, one of those guys got to check with the official, make sure I'm on the line of scrimmage, and he didn't do that.
Now the officials can be your friends. Take advantage.
Absolutely.
And make sure you're secure. That's big rule of thumb. Maryland down by 4. Now it's 3rd and 7. Falling down was Hammond. Looked like he had the blocking, but there was good pursuit in the back, too, by Fautua.
Neil, they had something going there. Came out in doubles. They had the counter there, had the kick-out block coming, tripped over his own lineman, and also that would be a big play. He might still be running right now if he hadn't tripped.
Fautua was in pursuit. Well, that was more the undoing of Hammond on the run. 70 seconds left in the 3rd. And now 4th and 8. And being very mindful of what Maryland might do, they do drop the safety deep. And it does appear Amir Wright standing back to punt at his 31. It's going to take a little backspin. And Utah is going to start at their own 39 with 40 seconds remaining here in the 3rd.
You know, Neil, the one thing about punts, they ain't got to be pretty to be effective. I mean, that's still 50 more yards they have to defend here, so not a bad job by the punter there.
And for a Maryland team that could, I think suffice it to say, they were the ones expecting to score points even if they are in close games. Utah says, you want to keep it single digits? Fine. We won 7-6 in the semifinal against Dallas. We can play you that way. We can play that way. Going to get a Maryland timeout here.
It'll be interesting to see after this timeout, Neil. You know, Utah found something when they brought Riley back at quarterback, Rigby back at quarterback. He definitely found a way here. Be interesting to see if they have the same kind of quarterback snack, working him into the running game to try and move the ball here on this drive, because they definitely had success in the last series.
You know, and conversely, you would bring up Maryland, and they've gone with Houston Anderson at quarterback instead of Demetrius Mathis. It worked the first time around. Utah kind of adjusted that last series. Not to say that Maryland might have had something if the runner Hammond didn't fall down, but they've also played a game of cat and mouse with their quarterbacks.
Utah scored that big run last time. I'm not going to be surprised with this series if we don't see a play action and them take a shot downfield here by Utah.
K.L. Prom off the right hip of the quarterback, Rigby Young. His dad's the head coach, Ben. Jet sweep, Matthijs. It's coming back. There's a flag immediately in that backfield. Matthijs got about 5 yards, but a hold.
Right at the point of attack, easy to call.
That Carter Gallegos.
Holding against Utah.
So you start on a negative play on this series.
10-yard penalty is going to bring up first down and long. Ball will be placed right around the 29-yard line. Utah.
They don't have to snap this if they want to let it expire into the 4th quarter with our clock running here. Sun starting to set in Southwest Florida. 7th grade FBU National Championship. Tightly contested at 10-6, the Utah advantage. Prom out through the middle. And about half of the penalty back. And we head to the 4th quarter here in Florida, where Utah, 10-6, they have the lead in search of their very first national championship at any grade level. Back in a moment on our FBU National Championship YouTube stream. Fourth quarter begins with a 2nd down and 15. And Rigby Young, the Utah quarterback, trying to move on a 4-point lead here, throwing down the field. It'll fall incomplete. A dangerous pass. Fonotti was his intended target, but he overshot him by a few yards, and it was nearly intercepted.
A great call by the Utah OC here. They ran a trips wheel package. Number 2 receiver didn't run his post deep enough, had the wheel route wide open. That definitely play he'll come back to.
He did have a penalty. It looked like an illegal forward pass. Well, did Young cross the line of scrimmage? They say he did, and that's a loss of down, too. So back to the 29 it goes.
5-yard penalty and loss of down brings up 3rd and long.
Need to get to the 49. 3rd and 20. They haven't given many 4-wide receiver looks. They do now. It's a run all the way for Young. Rigby Young trying to get through the tackle of Hammond. Got past the initial hit and then soldiers on toward that Maryland sideline where he's finally knocked out. Bring up 4th and 8.
Kid is showing some toughness. He's taking some shots here, and it's not affecting him at all.
Ball to 42-yard line.
He is standing back now to punt at his own 32. Caden Coleman Bennett awaiting it at his own 35. But he kicks away, and he got the bounce he wanted. And so they'll play the field position game. Does Utah with their defense holding stout for much of this one. Down to the 16 where Maryland goes back on offense. 10-6.
Can't stress it enough again. Once again, young coaches out there, work on your special teams. That was a critical situation right there. Utah gets a good punt, pushes Maryland back now. Now they've got 80 yards to go. So spend some time working on your practice plans. Work that punt game. It is a difference maker when it talks about being a championship team.
You know, the funny thing, SoCal, Dallas for Utah, where these close games, they actually went up against a behemoth in Seattle in the regional final and beat them 29-0. And even though with that lopsided score, that I think gave them the confidence coming down here that was required to get the job done. They're 9 minutes from it. But Maryland has other ideas. They start this drive going to Hammonds. The dual threat man on both sides of the ball. He got 4 yards on the first carry here.
Yeah, Neil, the Maryland OC is starting to see something here. Instead of running that same straight off tackle play, he's running counters now, and he's found something. That's another 5 yards here off that counter play.
They've rode Houston Anderson all second half at quarterback. And a 4-wide receiver look. Hammond in the backfield. And that slant route knocked down on the coverage. Omari Colson, the intended receiver. Great job by Tracy Assi. Or rather, it is Assi.
Yep.
And it's third down.
Big time play by that cornerback there. Timed it perfectly, did not get the flag, got the PBU because he is attacking the ball. Great job by him.
Anderson with a 3rd and 5. Up the middle. And spitting off a tackle. Looked to be Coleman Bennett. And he is short. It's 4th down. And 4 for Maryland with 7:55 and counting here in the 4th. And you've got Wright back there in punt formation.
Oh, boy.
The snap bouncing over his hands, and now Wright trying to get out of the mess. And he's thrown down at the 16-yard line. What a massive mistake. You've hit it at special teams all game long. The snap was low, and it flummoxed right in the end, who couldn't pick it up before the big loss.
And, in that situation, dropped the ball, he gets outside, he had the speed. He had a chance to kick it, decided to try to run for it. Made a big mistake there. Gave Utah great field position here, going in here to the last part of the fourth quarter.
So Utah at the 18, flipping the field. That's been a huge story in this game, the field position. Much of the first half played to the Maryland end. Now Rigby Young hands to Prom. And Prom fighting through 4 and 5 white shirts. Tough 3 yards there inside for the fast cut hard kid. One of the new additions who came in to help get this Utah team over the top.
One of the things that we force at this time of the game, and really throughout the game, Neil, is ball play. He's running tough, but you got to have ball security. You don't want to turn the ball over here in the red zone.
Clock their ally. Leading by 4. Second and 7. It's Young. Young gonna keep it, take what he can get. Maybe a couple of more. And here's where the difference also comes into play. You've got Workman, the kicker, and he's already shown he can hit a 40-yarder.
Yep. I think Utah's going to put the ball in Rigby's hands, a run-pass option, and either try and get the first down or maybe try and take a shot in the end zone here, knowing that they have great kicking opportunity. He still gets the points out of this drive.
From this spot right here, it would be about a 31, 32-yarder.
Easy money.
Considering what he did at the end of the first half, yeah. 3rd and 6.
One with the shotgun look. The bone, sorry.
Pistol wishbone. Rigby Young with some blockers, student body right. Rigby Young bottling his way inside the 5. He's got the first down. They'll spot him out around the 5. He needed 6. He got 7.5.
Those of you fans watching this broadcast, if you don't understand what the word moxie means, it's this kid. This kid, Rigby Young, is showing you what moxie's all about. That is a tremendous play. Looked like it was over. He's like, nope, my team needs a first down. I'm going to keep pounding my feet, fighting, and he gets a big first down, now 1st and goal at the 5-yard line for his team.
First and goal with the ball at the 5 for Utah. 5 minutes away from the program's first title. Prom, big hole, touchdown. KO Prom puts Utah in command, 16-6.
Coach Young went old school with the bone formation counter, and it is wide open because these kids do not see that play probably during the entire fall season.
Massive hole, and Prom's touchdown has Utah fans dancing with 4:53 remaining. He's the holder. And that kick is through despite slipping. This is a wet surface, but Workman bangs it through the uprights. 17-6 Utah.
Not over yet, but that's another nail in the coffin. I'll just say that right now. That's a huge drive, and once again, I'll keep saying his name. Rigby Young is just taking this team on his back and like, guys, I got you. Get on board. I got your back.
Well, you need the great skill position players. You need a good running game to win a national championship. But even if your quarterback, especially at these grade levels, 6th or 7th, they're not going to throw for 150, 200 yards a game. But you need poise and composure, game management, and to make plays when they're needed. And both Wiley Mahone, 6th grade Dallas, and now Rigby Young of 7th grade Utah have played that part to success.
Absolutely correct.
Workman to kick off. Utah by 11 with 4:53 remaining. He'll squib it once more. Coleman Bennett has it in his hands. He is slippery. Escapes only to the 40.
Brings it up to around the 39-yard line of Maryland. Will set up 1st and 10.
So the Big O needs some big help. Does this Maryland offense, down 11 with 4:46.
Our next matchup,
Maryland's got the offense to get an explosive play. They needed some explosive plays here quickly to get back in the game. They got to play with some tempo right now because they are 2 scores behind. So they're going to have to pick up their tempo a little bit in this series.
And Hulston Anderson steps into the spotlight. Can they get enough in the passing game or rip off big runs to find their way back into it? Utah calling a timeout. Our 8th grade FBU National Championship is coming up, and it should be a doozy with Maryland's 8th graders. Got a massive presence on their offensive line. They've run the ball down the throats, really, of every piece of competition they've faced on the way to the final. And then Ohio and their electrifying skill, coached by Ted Ginn Jr.
Definitely have my eye on that game. I guarantee you there'll be at least 3 or 4 kids that will play in the freshman All-American game from those 2 teams next year.
Maryland marching in with that iconic flag, the state flag, which is so proudly represented. And they will look for their first 8th grade championship in 8 years. 2016, 8 seasons.
Look for Maryland here, Neil, to try and get the ball to Caden Coleman somewhere outside the backfield. He's on a receiver right now. They got to get the ball in his hands in different ways.
He's in the backfield. The slot pass is complete. It's a good one to Kamari Johnson. And Kamari Johnson crumbling down at the 21. The ball was stripped out. It's on the deck. It belongs to Utah.
Tracy Asai with a great job. Ran him down, was waiting for the ball to come out, and then pokes it out. Look at this play.
It was out before he hit the ground, never gave up. And this little guy made a huge play in the passing game the last series, breaking up a 3rd down throw, and now the strip that may have secured a championship.
That's a big-time play. Big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games, and that one is huge.
Correction against Utah for roughing the passer.
Oh, got all excited. There's a flag in the play.
Yeah, all for naught. We showed you the deciding play, or what we thought might be, and then away from it all, you're going to get a look at roughing the passer.
Roughing the passer against Utah is going to be
Tough to see the tail end of that.
Maryland a 1st down.
A shove on Anderson. I must say it's a tough call if you're Utah watching that. Katoa was one of their lead defensive linemen. It's a big size advantage, and it wasn't like he was leading anything reckless there. But Maryland was on the move, so they got 15 yards on the personal foul, and Kamari Johnson absolved for the moment after the strip fumble.
Utah defense got to collect themselves right now and get back focused on getting a stop here.
Here's the handoff inside. Coleman Bennett. Fautoa brought him down. Inside of 4 minutes remaining.
Coleman on the carry up the middle. Gain of a yard on the play. That's going to bring up 2nd and 9.
It's 2nd down and 9 for Maryland. With their 8th graders looking on. Down goes Anderson. The blitz comes at the perfect time, and at the 39, Fautoa lays the lumber.
Coming off the edge, he's trying to block me. That kid, Caleb, says, nah, you're not blocking me, and runs right through the block, right into a big-time sack.
Just a bull rush right around Eric Winter Jr., who's one of the top linemen on that Maryland team. 3rd and 15.
Tell you what, Neil, Maryland not showing a lot of urgency right now.
And they were shell-shocked by that sack, and the climb is running on the clock. It's a toss sweep. And really, it's just Coleman Bennett trying to do most of the work his own. Inside the 30 and out of bounds. Makes it 4th and manageable, 4th and 9. And the clock stopped with 2:40 remaining.
Caden Coleman on the carry to the near side.
Maryland took a brief lead in the 3rd quarter. They were down 3-0 at the half. They led 6-3, 14 unanswered from Utah. Touchdown runs by Keogh and Prom. Hulston Anderson.
Lined up 2-by-2 here. I guarantee they'll try to get the ball to their best athlete with Caden Coleman here. Let's see what they do.
Game hanging in the balance. Anderson throwing the slant. It's incomplete.
Pass across the middle of the field.
It falls shy. Tyler Williams was open, but the throw was shallow. It's a turnover on downs.
Turnover on downs for that Utah defense.
Big stop. So at this point, 2:36 left. Utah's got to now think about, hey, we are now playing the clock. Let's run the ball. Let's stay in bounds. And let's use up as much clock as we can. We have enough points to win here. Ball security and be smart. Don't get any personal fouls. Stay true to the game. Focus on the game plan and finish this game out strong.
Maryland has expelled at least one timeout. 2:36 remains. The old school wishbone has popped up in key moments, including that big 3rd down conversion on the last drive. Keogh just rumbling through the middle. He is tough to bring down. Bubby Keogh, that was one of the things that Ben Young wanted to address, just adding some skill elements,
Time out of the field, Maryland.
some diversified runners in the backfield, and you get Prom and Keogh, and they're about to hit pay dirt with 2 guys in the backfield that they help bring in. Each have touchdowns today. Maryland calls timeout. 2:28 on the clock.
Maryland coaches probably tell their team during this timeout right now, hey, we want to make a tackle, but we're going to go for the ball. They've got to get a turnover here. So you're going to have one guy, the first guy, point of attack, try and make a tackle. Second guy, we are trying to strip it out.
After the timeout, 2nd down and 5.
2nd and 5.
Offense.
Rigby Young under center. And pardon, that's Woodward who hands off. And the pile pulling the traffic forward.
Got a flag down.
Tau Tuiaki was running.
Number 2, the ball carrier.
Not going to matter. Looked like you had a procedure or movement penalty on Utah.
It's going to sound crazy. We tell kids to play hard all the time, Neil, but at this point in the game, it's a matter of being smart. You want kids fighting for yards, but it's all about ball security right now.
And you wonder if you're Maryland, would you have declined that penalty? Because it would have been third down, but the clock is running.
Yeah.
And you give Utah now the extra down. We're inside 2 minutes. Little dive play. Tawa Tuiaki, C.O. Tau Tuiaki with the carry. And that's going to be the timeout that Maryland takes here.
Timeout on the field.
And bring up third down. But if you get the stop there, you could take it, and you're forcing them to punt. Now they've got the extra snap with 1:41 remaining.
Love that Coach Young is showing some of these young kids here old school Oklahoma football from maybe back in way before my time in the 70s. I mean, he's in double tight wishbone right now, Neil, and he's like, we're just going to run the ball, run the clock down. So I'm sure a lot of these kids are like, hey, Coach, what's that formation?
Well, he coached high school for about a half dozen years in the Utah area and then decided when Rigby was coming of age, he wanted to coach his son, so he got into youth ball, and boy, would that be a moment for the family. Along with the rest of Rigby's teammates, with 1:41 to the finish line, if they can claim that first Utah championship at any grade level. So 3rd and 9.
Double tight wishbone.
Got all 11 defenders in the box. And they're handing to Bubby Keogh.
Now it's about clock.
And he's going to get up to the 35-yard line. So it's 4th down. But here's the issue. You can take all this time off if you're Utah. You're going to punt the football most likely. But Maryland can't stop the clock. They're out of timeouts.
Yeah,
and that's where that extra down pays huge dividends.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking a delay game penalty here and letting my great kicker kick the ball away. Run this thing down as far as you can.
It's even more consequential with the fact that you're down 2 scores.
Yeah.
And you need the football twice with 52 seconds. So this really well played by Utah, just maneuvering the clock to their advantage. They're 52 seconds away. And it was a hungry coaching staff, too, at the half, imploring their team to give it everything they had for 20 more minutes, and they'd be national champs. That was said at least 8 times prior to the third quarter kickoff.
Tell you what, shout out to both coaching staffs. Very impressed. 7th grade coaching here. Both staffs, Maryland and Utah, have done a really good job of preparing their team. Not a lot of penalties, been very clean, and a lot of game within the game. So very impressed with both coaching staffs.
So Rigby Young's going to handle the punting chores. And they will take the delay.
They've got 12 in the field, looks like.
Oh, 12 on the field. I was going to say that'd be hard to delay a game would be hard to do out of a timeout.
Legal procedure, 5-yard penalty, replay, 4th down.
Surprised Coleman's not deep here. Oh, now he's backing up. Still needs to go a little deeper with this kicker.
And Maryland does have the electrifying talent to make this interesting off the punt return.
Oh, nobody on the edge.
Fielded by Wright.
Good play. Big
Well
time.
done downfield on the tackle by Saifonua. Sione Saifonua will make the tackle at the 49 of Maryland.
You know, 41 seconds left, but let me go ahead and say this, regardless of the outcome. Both teams really good. I think offensively, defensively, the difference in this game, you know what I'm going to say, special teams.
Yeah.
Utah has won this game because of their special teams.
You were on it from the beginning, and this has been a well-played championship, 2 very evenly matched teams. amend that. It's at the 48 of Utah is where it starts. And they've brought back their starting quarterback in this game in Mathis, who heaves one up. It was pinballed around and almost ended up in the hands of Fitasimanu, the Utah defensive back. 35 seconds remaining. And Maryland must score twice. That includes an onside kick if they get the first one.
They're in trips here to the wide side. They've got Coleman also to the left here to the wide side. I'd run these three on verticals and get Coleman out here in the flats to see what he can do.
Utah, they've been a participant.
And that's they run.
Ever since 7th grade began in 2012. And to the flat, Coleman Bennett will pick up a chunk of yards before he runs out of bounds to stop the clock with 26 seconds.
That's going to be enough for Maryland. First down.
Young players watching this live stream right now. It ain't over till it's over. Maryland could score quick here, do an onside, get the ball back, Hail Mary. We've all seen it at every level. So young players, until the clock says zeros, you got to keep playing hard to the whistle. And Neil, if I'm Maryland, I'm running the same play to the other side. Trips wide, get the ball to Coleman on a swing pass.
Utah family and friends, the faithful have climbed the dugout areas here on the near sideline stands, anticipating a celebration in 26 seconds. But Demetrius Mathis trying to hold off that party. And he's running the wrong way. Mathis, he's in a straitjacket. Somehow got out of it. Downfield it goes. It falls incomplete. And the flag comes from the back judge. There might have been a little bit of a tug on the jersey of Colson. But that wasted a lot of time. 13 seconds.
Maryland quarterback out there scrambling like Kyle Murray right now, and Russell Wilson and Patrick Mahomes. I don't know how he got out of that.
All three combined. It was impressive.
It was.
And even if you're Utah, don't let anyone get behind you. Take the penalty if you have to, because it's only 15 yards.
Absolutely.
So 13 seconds and a new set of downs now. Maryland at the 17.
Quads formation.
Mathis rolls to his left. There's a lot of open space. He throws. What a catch.
Yes, it was.
That's a touchdown. Omari Colson with just 4 seconds remaining. There is a flag, though, and Mathis went past the line of scrimmage. It's all for naught. It's a loss of down.
It's going to be against Maryland for a legal forward pass. 5-yard penalty.
And it's tough, too, to judge that on the near sideline the way he's running, Anthony, because the markers are on the far side of the field.
It was a very close call, but you got to respect the official's call. Tremendous catch and keeping his feet in bounds, though.
Yeah, you can keep that for the highlight reel. That'll be of little consequence to Maryland. They played so hard throughout this tournament. Got a sense that this group of players will be in the mix next year at the 8th grade level. Final 4 seconds on this last snap. Mathis out of the traffic, into the end zone, intercepted. Utah has finally climbed the mountain.
Pass going to be intercepted in the end zone as time expires.
A championship elevated.
Between Utah and
They've won it at the 7th grade level.
Utah on top 17-6. Congratulations to both sides in a well-fought ball game.
Outstanding game. Kudos to both teams, their coaching staff, and their players. But Utah was better in all 3 phases, so congratulations to our 7th grade champions.
Well, the team from the Beehive State is the best. Utah is 7th grade national champions. 17-6, the final.
Football fans, please join us in sunny and warm Naples. championship week with great hotel
A really well played championship
for the entire family. There's no better place
with the defenses battling tooth and nail. Enough offense on the ground for Utah.
past to Naples.
And you reverted to it on many occasions, Anthony. The special teams masterful
Once again, on
for the
behalf
winning
of
team.
Football University, thank you very much for attending the FBU National Championship powered
The
by
celebration will start on the Wasatch front.
Safely and have a great day.
Runners up, 6th graders last year, and enough to get over the finish line here in 7th grade. Their 8th graders made their first championship visit in 2014, and this team will be back to do so in 2024.
Absolutely.
17-6 the final. And Utah will start the celebration here in Southwest Florida. Our 8th grade national championship is coming up shortly. It's Maryland and Ohio in the marquee title tilts here in Naples. For our great crew from PrepSpin and Anthony Williams, I'm Neil Sika. Stay with us as you watch the FBU National Championships on YouTube.